CD 4.
"Oh," said Rincewind. Hello." "Are you alive?" she said. It was the kind of voice associated with beach umbrellas, suntan oil, and long, cool drinks. "Well, I hope so," said Rincewind, wondering if his glands were having a good time wherever they were. "Sometimes I'm not so sure. What is this place?" "This is the House of Death," she said. "Ah," said Rincewind. He ran a tongue over his dry lips. "Well, nice to meet you. I think I ought to be getting along." She clapped her hands. "Oh, you mustn't go," she said. "We don't often have living people here. Dead people are so boring, don't you think?" Yes," Rincewind agreed fervently, eyeing the doorway. "Not much conversation, I imagine. It's always 'when I was alive,' and 'we really knew how to breathe in my day,'" she said, laying a small white hand on his arm and smiling at him. "They're always so set in their ways, too. No fun at all, so formal." "Stiff?" suggested Rincewind. She was propelling him towards an archway. "Absolutely. What's your name? My name is Isabel." Rincewind. Excuse me, but if this is the House of Death, what are you doing here? You don't look dead to me." "Oh, I live here." She looked intently at him. "I say, you haven't come to rescue your lost love, have you? That always annoys Daddy. He says it's a good job he never sleeps, because if he did, he'd be kept awake by the tramp, tramp, tramp of young heroes coming down here to carry back a lot of silly girls, he says." "Goes on a lot, does it?" said Rincewind weakly, as they walked along a black-hung corridor. "All the time. I think it's very romantic. Only when you leave, it's very important not to look back." "Why not?" She shrugged. "I don't know. Perhaps the view isn't very good. Are you a hero, actually?" No, not as such. Well, not at all, really. Even less than that. In fact, I just came to look for a friend of mine," he said wretchedly. "I suppose you haven't seen him. Little fat man, talks a lot, wears eyeglasses, funny sort of clothes." As he spoke, he was aware that he may have missed something vital. He shut his eyes and tried to recall the last few minutes of conversation. Then it hit him like a sandbag. "Daddy?" She looked down demurely. "Adopted, actually," she said. "He found me when I was a little girl, he says. It was all rather sad." She brightened. "But come and meet him. He's got his friends in tonight. I'm sure he'll be interested to see you. He doesn't meet many people socially. Nor do I, actually," she added. "Sorry," said Rincewind. "Have I got it right? We're talking about, death, yes? Tall, thin, empty eye sockets, handy in the scythe department?" She sighed. "Yes, his looks are against him, I'm afraid." While it was true that, as has already been indicated, Rincewind was to magic what a bicycle is to a bumblebee, he nevertheless retained one privilege available to practitioners of the art, which was that at the point of death it would be Death himself who turned up to claim him, instead of delegating the job to a lesser mythological anthropomorphic personification, as is usually the case. Owing largely to inefficiency, Rincewind had consistently failed to die at the right time, and if there is one thing that Death does not like, it is unpunctuality. "Look, I expect my friend has just wandered off somewhere," he said. "He's always doing that. Story of his life. Nice to have met you. Must be going." But she'd already stopped in front of a tall door padded with purple velvet. There were voices on the other side. Eldritch voices, the sort of voices that mere typography will remain totally unable to convey until someone can make a linotype machine with echo reverb and possibly a typeface that looks like something said by a slug. This is what the voices were saying. "Would you mind explaining that again?" "Well, if you return anything except a trump, South will be able to get his 2 roughs, losing only 1 turtle, 1 elephant, and 1 major arcana. Then—" "That's 2 flower," hissed Rincewind. "I'd know that voice anywhere." "Just a minute. Pestilence is South?" "Oh, come on, Mort. He explained